Welcome to another measured Kool-aid report, and this one I'm very excited about because Takk is somebody that we obviously signed this week with the Dallas Cowboys, and I think he's greatly going under the radar. Not slightly, greatly going under the radar. Matter of fact, I know there are a lot of fans that have little to no excitement about this because he's inexpensive and all of that kind of stuff, and they looking at the price tag. And I think when you're looking at the price tag, you're missing the value of what's going on right now with the Dallas Cowboys, and it's extremely smart. So first, before I kind of start really breaking down this acquisition to the Dallas Cowboys, where they brought him back, I want to kind of go through the tape first. One of the most important things when you're dealing with Takk is to know that he's a former first rounder that the Dallas Cowboys wanted over even Taco, and he has a super motor. This was the game where Terrence Steele was a rookie, and this is just the first quarter, and he was super disruptive. You can see on that first play, he made an effort tackle on Zeke. Then he killed Schultz, made another tackle on Zeke. Now remember, this game, they got way ahead of us because of fumbles and that defense led by Dan Quinn at the time. Foul is actually on the other side, but we focusing on Takk. They was getting after, and it was mainly because another pressure by Takk. This is just the first quarter. So he just got a hit on Dak and the pressure, and he was doing it all day. This was the worst that I've ever seen Terrence Steele look, even when he went against Sweat, and even when he went against the killers over there with the Washington Commanders. It was not as bad as what Takk was doing to Steele in this first quarter. It was horrible. Matter of fact, the only reason the Dallas, boom, look what he just did to Dak. That's the second hit on Dak, and this is just the first quarter. Dak getting hit in his throat, and this is just the first quarter. Now remember, Dallas came back this game. See, remember that. Dallas did come back this game. But what happened is Takk got injured after the first quarter. And I tell you right now, the way Takk was playing in the first quarter, if he played the whole game, Dallas don't come back. It's just too much pressure, and you can see it. Too much playmaking. He not giving up the edge. It is nothing going on. In the first quarter, you can see he had 3 tackles, 2 hits on Dak, and 2 pressures in just the first quarter. And he gonna get another pressure right here. This is just coming from one side all day. That's another pressure on that. So he's a true first rounder. But what happened with Takk is a lot of times Takk was with a lot of these teams injured, and injuries kept preventing him from hitting the field. So let's just kind of go back in time and really look at this and break down what's really happening. First things first, this is a Dan Quinn guy. Just like Fowler. Fowler is also a Dan Quinn guy. These are guys that Dan Quinn firsthand believes in. So I don't understand how we have so much faith in Dan Quinn but doubt him when he put his personal stamp on certain guys given a second opportunity with the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Fowler was one of the greatest low-key signings last offseason, because remember, he came as an emergency rebound to rescue the ball drop that happened from Randy Gregory. And he more than outperformed that rescue mission. He ended up being better than Randy Gregory. He had the same amount of sacks as Randy Gregory did before he signed to Denver for all that money, but with way less snaps. Way less. But he also was like Takk before he started to make his upward trajectory with the Dallas Cowboys under Dan Quinn. He also was looking like he was taking a downturn because of injuries, but he also was a super marshals guy where he was a former top 10 talent that was restored back from the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm so thankful that they actually got him back. He was under still my top free agent, even under Donovan Wilson, and I stand by that. But see, it should be that same type of optimism for Takk McKinley, because the Dallas Cowboys are low-key running the same plan and building massive depth with pass rushers, and they really helping with getting the edge guy, a guy that can truly set the edge, and it's quiet, it's silent, it's quiet. And the Dallas Cowboys have been really up to this for a while. So let me show you the proof, because I've been looking at this for a while, and I said this on Twitter. So I just said this before this tweet, because Patrick put out there, he said Stephen Jones confirms Cowboys are still visiting with Takk McKinley, compares the interest to that of Malik Hooker, who also returned from torn Achilles. Dan Quinn is a large factor in the team's interest in meeting with Takk. And I said even before Patrick posted that, and guys was posting this on Twitter, he said, boss, you said look for a Hooker type thing. What I was talking about was basically a value free agent that they go bring in that was a former great, similar to Malik Hooker, but they go get it at a discounted price and they go try to restore him. I said that before Patrick posted that, the news of what they was trying to do with Takk. Now remember, this was in July. So I was still saying around this time the Dallas Cowboys bring in value free agents. Just like, remember, when did they bring in Malik Hooker? Right around training camp. The second wave of free agency. And that's where they're still trying to roster build with value. That's what Takk is. But it gets better. Right? Because the interest in him is very real and it makes sense. And I called it Malik Hooker Part 2. And this is great if the fans have the patience. And remember, I said, this is in July. I said the fans have to have the patience to see this vision through. I said, I do for sure. Hope we get him and merge Takk with the Dallas Super Medical team. Because what I'm seeing is a potential to have a Malik Hooker type of rebound, but better. So let's just look at Malik Hooker, because see, Malik Hooker was almost a miracle type of signing, because his injury history was worse than anybody that we ever had. It was worse than Fowler. It was worse than Takk. It was worse than anybody. It was bad. Real bad. Matter of fact, I already showed this, but Injury Predictor, before the Dallas Cowboys acquired him, gave him a 99% chance of re-injury. So that means the Dallas Cowboys bet on a 1% chance and got it right. Oh my God, I gotta hit a button on that. What button I'm gonna hit on that? Hold on, I gotta hit a better button. Let me see. Hold on, I gotta hit a button that's really flexing. Run it up.
Another one.
Hold on.
Finesse, 2-arm.
Yeah, finesse 2-arm. That's the button you want. Just the finessing that the Dallas Cowboys are doing. And see, what amazes me, and I'm being honest, a lot of fans hate this strategy, even though it's working right before their eyes. This is exactly what Jerry Jones is talking about, where he said, I want to be in the middle. So we watch these guys come in for $1 million contract, earn a $5 million contract. You don't go from $1 million to $5 million unless you prove your value. But yet we'll say wump to these type of signings because they not just big names and perfect coming from the top department stores. These are Marshalls. So the Cowboy fans hit the wump and not even knowing that this stuff is exponentially working. It's worked with Fowler, it worked with Malik Hooker, and they trying to get it to work with Takk. And it's a great strategy. So what eventually happened, they were starting those talks with him in July. And I talked about them bringing in a Malik Hooker type of guy because I watched the patterns of the Dallas Cowboys very closely. And I just knew that that was something they was likely going to do, especially around July, because that's when they bring in value guys. They not going to stop shopping. Trust me, y'all. They still shopping for value, and this value is good because it's going to build depth and it's going to protect even people like Malik Hooker. The smartest thing they did with Malik Hooker, let me tell you, the smartest thing they did is they didn't give him a whole bunch of snaps. Smartest thing they did. With somebody with a massive injury history like this, you didn't want to just throw him out there and give him a bunch of snaps. You want to build him up to it. Well, we got that opportunity now to do that with Takk. When you merge him with the depth that we currently have with Fowler, with Sam Williams, with Tank, with Michael Parsons, all that pass rush depth should allow us to get the first round talent that we saw going against Steele. But yet, if we don't overuse it and we give him smart rotational reps, it should prolong his career. But yet you get the first round talent like you got out of Malik Hooker. So as we keep looking at what the Dallas Cowboys are really doing, what eventually happened is in around July, when all of this was heating up, it came out that they're not signing him at this point. But Stevie Jones said the past relationship with Dan Quinn plays part in this interest. So once again, I keep telling y'all that this is a Dan Quinn thing. So don't act brand new. Don't start getting the big head because these are not your favorite free agents. These are value free agents. But see, I can show you on this tape that the guys that was personally recruited on this tape right here was Takk and Fowler. Both of those balls was getting after Dak this game. So these are guys that Dan Quinn wants. So I ain't trying to hear how stupid this pick was, but then don't brag about how smart Dan Quinn is. See, we can't be double tongued as Dallas Cowboy fans when we see the Dallas Cowboys going after these middle value picks and Marshall's free agents. This is something that Dan Quinn wants. And Dan Quinn got it. Because in November 16 of 2022, we still brought him in. Dan Quinn got his guy, Takk. Because right around that time, we also brought in another Marshalls. I don't know if y'all remember, Antonio Callaway, who also had a first round grade, but he dropped in the draft because of, off the field concerns. But around that time, we also picked up Takk. And what we did is what I believe that we're doing is what I hope that we will do. It looks like we're doing exactly like I hoped we would do. Where I said, I hope we get him a merged Takk with the Dallas Super Medical Team. I said that in July of 2022. And in November 16th, they brought him in. And the whole time, that's what he's been doing. Being nursed back to health so we can get their first round talent out of Takk. Genius plan by the Dallas Cowboys and under the radar. Truly under the radar. It should be a bunch of excitement for what we doing with this pass rush with Fowler and Takk, and in addition to having Sam Williams and Michael Parsons and Tank. It should be a lot of excitement, but honestly, I think a lot of Cowboy fans, we missing what the Dallas Cowboys are doing. So we even did a show about it with the Final Word. we did a show about it where we was talking about the value of bringing in people like Takk. We really broke it all the way down even before most people was talking about that. So when you look at him coming in now, right, and you look at the fact that it's already been a whole bunch of talk, that's why I've already got a bunch of shows in the queue. So we talked about Takk doing training camp. Then we also talked about it when he got signed in November. And then the Dallas Cowboys, shout out to my boy Amp. My boy Amp said, "Boss, where's Takk?" And I was like, "Bruh, I don't know." And after they signed Fowler, I was like, "Amp, I don't think they go do nothing with Takk, but I hope they do." But shout out for Amp for keeping that in the back of his mind, because then the very next day where Amp brought that up, the Dallas Cowboys brought him back. So you telling me this ain't something that the Dallas Cowboys is very serious about? Remember, they wanted Takk over Taco. But Atlanta, who was led by Dan Quinn at the time, picked him up. So it looks like the Dallas Cowboys are doing exactly like I wanted them to do. But this time it should work even better. Why? They had way more time to rehab him, to rehabilitate him like they did with Malik Hooker. But it should work better than what happened with Malik Hooker. He should be rested, he should be restored, and he not gonna get a massive amount of snaps, which could bring him back into injury proneness again. So the Dallas Cowboys got a chance with Takk to add even more to the Super Bowl roster that they low-key building. So in my opinion, and I'm just being all the way honest, it should be way more excitement about this. And last year, this is what I said. My breakout player, and I said Restoration Part 2, was going to be Fowler. Well, I ended up being definitely right on that, especially when you go check the stats and see that he was the most efficient pass rusher even over Micah Parsons. And yes, I did say that. When you compare Fowler snaps to everybody else that was a pass rusher for the Dallas Cowboys, he was the most productive by a mile in terms of ratio. When you do the ratio of snaps to sacks, he had the best ratio. And when you look at snaps to pressure, he had the best ratio by far. Fowler. That's why the only thing the Dallas Cowboys did wrong is they didn't give him enough snaps. You got your former top 10 pick and you literally gave him less snaps than Armstrong. That's an indictment on Dallas. And that's where honestly they need to get rid of these bastards versus sons, to where they treat Armstrongs and inside guys that they acquired or drafted better than the outside guys that they bring in. Because it's obvious that Dan Quinn is bringing in his guys. We need, in my opinion, these Stephen Jones experiments, to where he's always lobbying for his draft guys to get most of the reps. To me, that's what's getting in the way of greatness. That's also why I think this free agency is going better this year. It's going better this year because I feel like the front office is getting out of the coach's way this year. I think they're doing a better job of trusting Dan Quinn and Mike McCarthy. I think they finally starting to get out the way, which is allowing this team and its personnel decisions to flow. That's why we seeing, instead of them doing stuff like not at this time on a cheap tack. See, because remember, they had a chance to get him in July. But obviously Dan Quinn never quit on it. He never quit on it because they ended up bringing him in November. And they just signed him again this week. So we go pretend that's an accident. We go pretend that it's no value. We go act like this is bad. We go say this is cheap. Nah. If you're looking at price tags, you're missing the value of the quality. Because I promise you, I'm starting to understand how a lot of us think as Cowboy fans. We think value is only in the price tag. So we get mad when stuff don't cost a lot. But it's, to me, not about cost. It's about quality of player and building as many quality players as you can on a budget. Because this is the deal. As much as we want to be like Philly, and people still on highway balls because they really want us to spend money, but none of us want to be where Philly is right now. No, it was cute last year when they went all in to try to catch up to Dallas. But see, when we seeing how they having to budget, cut guys, get rid of all these people on defense, and then they trying to patch it together. No, you don't want that. You want to be right where we are, in the middle, with these middle free agents, building massive amount of depths, and then using our draft picks to build on top of it. So y'all stay on the lookout for this dude, Takk. I'm expecting, just like I said last year, and I end up being right, a restoration. I'm expecting that with Takk. The only thing I want the Dallas Cowboys to do is to get out the way in terms of front office. If Dan Quinn is lobbying for his guys, get out the way. Don't push Armstrong. Don't push Sam Williams. Let the best man win, whoever that might be. If it so happen to be Sam Williams, cool. If it so happen to be Takk, cool. If it so happen to be Fowler, cool. If it so happen to be Parsons, cool. If it so happen to be Armstrong, cool. But take your thumb off the scale and let these guys get after it, and let these coaches do what they do. Bring in the competition and allow the cream to rise to the top. Outstanding job, front office. Outstanding job, Dan Quinn. And I'm excited about the future of what the Dallas Cowboys are doing. This is another Measure Kool-aid report with Boss Cowboy Sports. And y'all stay tuned. We got more coming. But Takk, I'm betting on the restoration. I'm going to be right just like I was with Fowler. Y'all stay up. Peace.
Boss Cowboy Sports, where your voice matters. Boss Cowboy Sports.